We will wait for 5 minutes, and I'm kind of
Right.
currently
Sure.
fixing live stream and YouTube. Yeah, our live stream is also ready. I will wait for 5 minutes. So that's kind of so the teachers in a chat box, I'm sharing the link for YouTube streaming, and you may share it with your colleagues. Those who have difficulties on joining to Zoom, they may watch it via YouTube. And at the same time, we are checking the attendance via YouTube as well. So that means if they are kind of in YouTube and they're observing us in YouTube, so they also will get a chance for certificates and voucher as well. So we will wait for 2 more minutes and then we will continue, okay? Okay, it is already 5 minutes past at 8. So I think we may start today's webinar because like on the point of politeness, we have waited for 5 minutes already. Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's webinar. And today, one more brilliant trainers of TESOL Asia is going to make his presentation on the topic of causes of student pessimism and the effective ways of their involvement in activities. So meet Umid Farsaif, who is brilliant professor from Samarkand Institute, Institute of Technologies. I'm so sorry if I did a mistake. And at the same time, he is trained a trainer, Cambridge certified trained trainer, as instructor of TESOL Asia International. So Umid, it's your turn. Wish you luck.
Thank you very much, dear Miss Yakut. So that's my pleasure being here today with you. So yes, that's a great opportunity to share the knowledge, as share is care, and we always share and exchange our expertise and knowledge. So I would like to start today's session of our series of webinars with my short reminiscences. Actually, and one day we were having a discussion with the colleagues of mine regarding the students' participation in the class activities and their involvement. Well, and after some reflection, we came to conclusion that it was the common case for all of them, that we found the students to be somehow passive. Well, and that brought me to a kind of reflection how to refine uh, this case, then how to make students be more involved in the class activities. Well, by nature, I'm a bit self-critical, so I usually pay attention to what I do in my preparation to class. But surprisingly, well, after just some talks to students, I found that the feedbacks were quite positive. And I see that it's about not just about they being passive, but it's about the participation in class. So that came to my mind. What does being passive mean? Well, I guess other participants, you may share your ideas. Just a short note. So I don't want these monotonous lectures. I mostly prefer interactive type. And you feel free then to give your comments. Yep, so you can use our chat box as well. So Miss Yakut also will just follow your comments. Yeah. All right. So, for example, so let me go back to the definition of the word passive. So passive means that we accept or allow things happen or others do things without active response to that or resistance. So, and then I thought it's not about my students. So they are responding to what we do in class. They speak and they contribute. So I thought that maybe it's more about the engagement, and that's actually when we should be very careful when we talk about the engagement of the students, right? Okay, I'd like to draw your attention to one of the quotation here. So regard man as the mine rich in gems of inestimable value. Education can alone cause it to reveal its treasures and enable mankind to benefit therefrom. So by this quotation, I got the inspiration that we consider our students as some passive participants of the course, and we try to fill them up as the empty buckets, and then I thought that, yeah, I mean, each of us has our own potential talents and other stuff. So it's about us to investigate and find them. Don't you think that it's better to consider students as the mines, the gold mines, full of treasures, rather than seeing them as empty buckets that should be filled with the spoons, right? So I guess the choice is obvious. Okay, so today, before we just proceed to the part of our interactive just watching and the discussion part, I would like to draw your attention to the issue of students and professor relationships. All right. So, over the years, the number of universities increased, especially in Uzbekistan. So we can see that more and more universities pop up in the sphere of education, and they provide different services in different specialties. So logically, the number of students increases. So, and that leads the teaching staff, the professors, to analyze two aspects. First is teaching methods, teaching approach, how we should approach that. Secondly, it's human resource, or here I would use the term human capital, because we should consider our students as the potential specialists, you know. It's not about them being passive. And, you know, even being myself as a student, I remember when in being in my last year of the undergraduate program, they would say, like, what would you do then? And they didn't consider me as potential specialist. Doesn't it discourage? Cannot it bring you to passiveness? Definitely it can. So we always should consider students from their perspectives as well. So that's what makes really reasonable lecturer and teacher, actually. Yeah. So we stimulate students' interest. Why? Then it will help us to involve them in teaching process and in educational process throughout the course. All right. So, and initially, if you take the, for example, the professors, I mean the teaching staff of universities, well, I guess it concerns everyone, because when we talk about the passiveness, it concerns the learners of different levels. We can talk about the middle school, high school, university, and even master's students. So it concerns everyone. So there, for example, if we talk about the university lectures, right? So professors there, they don't have time, for example, to get to know and build the relationship with the students, right? And the same time. So yeah, but it's one of the essential elements actually that should be realized. On one hand, professors give students what we call it scientific freedom. So yeah, they simply navigate them, they tell them what to do, and they don't hold their hand, as we got used to. I guess you will agree with me, right? So if we take our system, which says that like we regard the students as the people who should be trained, taught, and we always bring them to the point that ask me, yep, and I will show you, and ask me every step. On one hand, it is right. Though on the other hand, we don't let them reveal the initiatives, right? Okay, and in today's session, we are going to watch here 4 types. Okay, thank you. Some people started drawing, which is good. I like it. All right, so we will watch here videos, right? And then I would like you to discuss these case studies. So what are these diagnostics about? So what are the cases? So here we're going to see the reasons of students' passiveness and the effects, what it will lead to. And then together we will discuss the opposite trends, what could be done to have effective approaches. Yeah. Well, then for your consideration, so I guess everyone is here, right? Everyone is following us. So I guess we can start. Now, in this section, I'm going to play 4 different episodes. And your task, dear participants of webinar, would be to match the cases which cause the passiveness, yep, to the videos. So let's start.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? Anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which anyone raised or lowered, raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government.
All right, episode 1. Was it audible? Did you hear it well? All right, shall we jump to episode 2?
स्नेहा सपना तो सब
All right, then the next episode.
All right, listen up, y'all. I'm y'all substitute teacher, Mr. Garvey. I taught school for 20 years in the inner city, so don't even think about messing with me. Y'all feel me? Okay, let's take a roll here.
And episode 4.
Quiet! Bring out your books and turn to page 51. Today's lesson is the use of have to and has to. Who can tell me the difference and the usage? Mr. De Guzman? Nothing? So what is this? Nobody read their assignments at home? None of you can even answer me?
All right, so here we have these 4 episodes, and now talking about the challenges of given cases. Now, if you'd like, I can play them one more time again, and your task would be now to match the approaches leading to students' passiveness to the episodes. Use our chat box, or simply just you may express your opinion here. Welcome.
Yes, actually, there are some ideas, some mention it.
Mhm.
So Dinoza Kambarva mentioned that all the 3 episodes are passive. Mukhudinova Makurat, if I'm not mistaken, she also presented passive
Mhm.
episode 1. Dinoza again mentioned that they are teacher-oriented. Yakut Sharipova mentioned all of them are passive. The daughter Yuldasheva teacher-oriented. Munisa Makhyanova, yeah, there were several types of passiveness. Salimova Dinara, 2, lack of confidence. 1,
All right.
monotonous. 4, teacher-centered. 3, inappropriate. Payoza Dadavoiba, 1B, 2D, 3B, 4C. Mukhlisa, in my point of view, video 1, I think she stopped it to right here, maybe. She pressed it like ascending unconsciously.
Mhm.
Okay, lack of motivation. And lack of inspiration mentioned by Sevara Nadirova.
Right.
Lack of motivation, Tahmina Kromova.
Mhm.
Lack of interest and understanding, Payoza Dadaboeva.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So we can see here that if we look at the first video, that the voicing and the manners of the teacher to deliver material, they mostly look not really interactive, and I would say even the level of the voice. So let's just put it again.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone, Great Depression, passed the, anyone, the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which anyone raised or lowered, raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government.
Well, I guess here it's obvious that he speaks in a very monotonous way. The lecture seems to be boring, so I guess you could see the faces of the students. Well, I hope you didn't often have such faces when you were students. Though, yeah, this problem is really actual, even nowadays. So as for the second one, we could see that the student here, right? So I took the different levels. So you would understand that it concerns not just the university students or not just the junior school. No, it concerns all level of learners since we talk about the general process. Yeah. So again,
Sneha. सपना तो सप
so here, yeah, we can see the reaction of the girl that she's stuttering, she's not sure what she's going to say. So obviously it's a lack of confidence, right? Well, the next episode is really vivid and well, we could even observe it in our just news sometimes when it happens in school. So how the teachers behave themselves. So,
All right, listen up, y'all. I'm y'all substitute teacher, Mr. Garvey. I taught school for 20 years in the inner city, so don't even think about messing with me. Y'all feel me? Okay, let's take a roll here.
all right, let's look at the behavior of that teacher here. So how does he start his class? Well, how would you feel yourself in such class? Motivated? Would you like to participate? Just look at the phrase of the teacher who says, don't even think of messing up with me. So, like, total, I would say that's inappropriate atmosphere, guys. Absolutely. Like, it's about building the communication. So imagine that teacher says, don't think even messing up with me. So, yeah, no bridges, no connections, totally just a big wall. Sure. Well, as definitely teacher-centered approach here.
Quiet! Bring out your books and turn to page 51. Today's lesson is the use of have to and has to. Who can tell me the difference and the usage? Mr. De Guzman? Nothing? So what is this? Nobody read their assignments at home? None of you can even answer me?
All right. So do you think that this is the appropriate way of involving the students? Doesn't it sound like investigation in police office? Well, I would say yes. Well, probably some of you recognized some elements that maybe we ourselves at times implement in the class. So here it's a good food for thought, how we're going to refine our teaching skills in order to avoid such kind of teacher-centered approach, for example, being monotonous and creating good atmosphere to involve students in our process, and how to increase their confidence. So that's what we're going to discuss. If you have the ideas, please express.
They have presented, and I wanted to lead with.
Yes, Ms. Yakut, please.
So I would like to start with YouTube kind of discussions. They were good discussions, like Buraima Mamad Alima have presented that these are teacher-centric, but we should be very friendly with our students, as Buraima presented. But in our chat box, in Zoom chat box, teachers also present wonderful ideas. Like all of them are scared, there is a fear, and as Tahmina presented, and as Ashim Hajjama Sevara presented, in such cases, we cannot create a good atmosphere. It was mentioned. And even like Mersaid Kasimov, that scaring students and demotivating class, as it is presented by Tahmina. And lack of students' confidence in video 4 again. So Kamola Raima presented that organizing a lesson from practice to theory, avoiding traditional style of teaching. And Mersaid, as Mersaid mentioned, that Kasimov presented, smile always helps to attract students, but she is doing opposite. And Guli Posaiva, unfriendly attitude to make students passive. Gulchehra Nurmatova, but cases like this are quite common. Yes. I see Kamila Abdullahi presented, feel a lot of aggression from the teacher. They're not the combat, there will not be any effect. Yes, I think I do agree.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for your active participation. As I understand, this topic is really like close to our hearts, because either when we were the students, we faced kind of similar situations, right? Or, well, to our self-criticism, maybe we could trace some elements in our style. So that's then, as I have just mentioned, a good time to revise and just refine your skills. Now, I would like then to move further. And here we're going to talk about the teacher-centered approach, about the causes and effects. First of that is passiveness. So just see that authoritative teacher leaves no space for students' realization. So the first factor here, that for authoritative teacher, it's important to adhere to the plan. There is no space left or right. There is no possibility for creativity. So teacher-centered approach is like you give question. Mostly it was about our schools. When I remember I studied the same at school. Yep. So that's mostly those who did different training courses. So you could know the term, for example, grammar translation method, right? GTM. So, and there you simply just deal what teacher tells you. And there is nothing about realization. So such kind of classes, they make students be passive. They are spoon-fed, and we will come, by the way, to these terms, spoon-feeding, that has deleterious effect on the students. They feel no courage to express their ideas, because whatever they say could be prosecuted and stopped by teacher right in the root. All right. As for the second one, it's about the focus. In a teacher-centered approach, the goal is solely, as we can see, to transfer teachers' knowledge. So it's not important whether the student grasps the material or not. In teacher-centered classes, the specialists usually just start lecturing. You know, it's like a recording. They don't care what you say. And if you raise your hand, they would say like later. If you have any questions, they would continue. So talking about this point especially, that you could see that you have to listen to your students, not to yourself. It's not just your beauty contest. I'm sorry. So it's about us to see. Now, even just sharing my personal experience, recently I was discussing some grammar patterns in my class. And as soon as I noticed that students start losing their focus, so that's a signal to me. I should like immediately shift. Now, shifting, it's again about your professionalism and your sensitivity. Do you feel that your students start losing focus? Good moment to change your activity. I immediately regroup them, and then since we passed one part, it was enough to organize small role plays for them, implementing given grammar pattern. Now you could see that the eyes sparkled immediately and the atmosphere became now more like interactive. They started working, they started creating. Well, this is the point. In a teacher-centered class, we watch our students, how they react. All right, I guess you may agree with this fact. Now, the third cause that also, and about the cause and effects, it's about the key to passiveness. You know, when we talk about the teacher-centered approach, students gain no skills for independent studies. You simply blindly follow what teacher tells you, and teacher doesn't want you to be creative. Well, usually when we come up to such kind of case, and how to avoid these, by the way, I like giving such kind of cases for university students. You know, I'm teaching at Samarkand International University of Technology, and when I deal with my students, I give them different study cases to work with. And when it comes to assignment, they say like, what if we do this? Would it be correct? I say like, why do you doubt? Yes, that would be correct if it meets the criteria. Right. So this is the thing that we should be really like encouraging, really support the students. Let them be creative. Otherwise, they will have no habits for objective thinking and thus critical thinking. Now, objectives, we don't follow students' learning outcomes. Plan only. You know, again, let me be about egocentristic today a little bit. So, but I will share like my almost 20 years of teaching experience. You know, for me, it's not important whether I would finish like from like point to point, this grammar, vocabulary, or writing, whatever. For me, it's important to see that students understand and they grasp it. Moreover, that it comes from them, the initiatives. Well, that's when I'm doing the lecture, when I'm giving lectures, I always do it in interactive form. Sometimes it's good to appoint someone even to help you. So amazing. In that case, everyone feels being involved. All right. So point 5, as I have just mentioned, spoon feeding. So teacher gives ready answers. Thus, it contributes just to the lack of critical thinking. Please avoid this habit, guys, to give ready answers. No, dear participants, dear colleagues. So what we do, we stimulate the students. You know, that's why we have this model when our students win scholarships and then go to study abroad. They find it so much challenging to study abroad. Why? Because in that part, that model considers learners and the students as the sustainable ones. They simply guide them, they direct them. They don't give them ready answers as we do here. No. So this is the model that we should come to. We should consider our students as the talented people. Everyone has the talent and the skills. We just should find the way to reveal it. So critical thinking stimulated through the just approaches when you give the hints, when you guide. No ready answers. Okay, now here, let's talk about the solution. Solution, as you may presume, is learner-centered approach, student-centered approach. Delegation, one of the things. If we talk about the high school, I mean the school pupils, right? Dear teachers, delegate different tasks, starting from simple distribution of the worksheets and the materials. Usually, it's about 2 types of the learners. I mean, first, the passive ones that and they feel a bit encouraged that teacher supports them and teacher trusted them to do such kind of task. Another, by the way, it works with the opposite trend if we talk about troublemakers. Actually, it's one of my favorite things. I always, when I enter my class, no matter university or if I give lectures or workshops like with the school students, school pupils, I always see if there are team leaders. I mean, the guys, they have strong personality. They are loud, they are noisy, they distract. So use this power of distraction, and so they would unite other guys. So usually when it comes to group working, I say, for example, like Ahmad, Andrei, and Dmitry. So you are three guys. So you are the team leaders of each team, and you are responsible for this and this when it comes to the task. So yeah, and you could see then the students having sense of responsibility. Definitely, it's not from the first time, but when you do it as ongoing process, well, you would see the result. You will see that the passive students become more courageous, more initiatives. Some of them start coming, and they even just then start suggesting something. If they start suggesting something, great. It means like you got their hearts, right? So peer observation, or I would say the peer evaluation also, just when we ask the students, for example, to check the vocabulary. What I usually do when it comes to vocabulary task, my students usually know how I check that knowledge. So I don't need the translation, So we usually play special games. So it's very interactive. And I'm telling that the next lesson, that student would be checking other participants' vocabulary. So that means that the student himself or herself should know all the definitions and should bring examples. So they participate, and you always rotate. That gives them the feeling of being involved. They are engaged, plus responsibility. Isn't it amazing? Okay. Now, when we talk about the getting rid of passiveness, one principle is one among my favorite ones. The teacher is the guide. We should be in learner's position. We should feel our students, and you involve them. You ask them to give the questions. Usually, you may do that with a different parts of things, connected with the reading and other parts. Yeah. So we have to follow up and see how students are getting involved. So teachers should be really sensitive in that way to feel, are they in the right path? Right. If they're involved, are they involved properly? So that's about us to guide. So we are guiding them, right? And we meet learners' needs. So again, when we were talking about the teacher-centered approach, we could see that we don't care about what they want, or if they have the difficulties with understanding a certain part of the lesson. So in teacher-centered approach, we simply shift. We don't care. Whereas here, stop. You better combine then the next lesson and add what you haven't covered yet and make it even more informative and more productive. Initiatives. Give your students a chance to explore. So regarding the assignments, please always make your assignments creative and appoint the people. I would also like to add here one more point. It's about the team building. Avoid giving individual tasks. Yeah, it helps passive students, especially you can support the passive students to give them just a minor task and encourage. One thing, whenever a learner or a student gives correct answer, applause. Not just you, but cultivate this culture among the peers. That's quite surprising, but I would see that our people somehow have more tendency to criticize. I guess that comes from, I don't know, family or cultural background, but they find it a bit surprising when you say, let's cheer up. And I have a group where I'm really like instilling and cultivating this culture in them. Support each other. Whenever you do the task, whenever you give the answer, just cheer up and support. So it works in a really good way. Now, even when they do, for example, public speaking, when they come up, they have no even the stage fright, you know. They are not frightened to speak because they know that those who listen to them in class, they are ready to support. I had the students who were just struggling to speak. And now whenever I give a task, can you imagine they are the first to raise their hands, may I start? So that was just that exceeded my expectations, quite frankly. So the next is flexibility. So take benefits of the teachable moments, be flexible and see where you can reform your lesson. Now, definitely you should have the set of learning outcomes that should be covered. Now, the way how you cover, this is the point. And now that you have the cards in your hands, it's about you to navigate through the lesson course, how you will bring them to the destination, right? So fluid and flexible delivery of material, one of the important things. Well, gold mining. Remember, the students are not sponges, but they are gold miners. I always tell my students, it happens with, as I told you, with the passive students or problematic. I mean, the troublemakers, the rebellious ones who don't want to study and they distract others. Have a talk with them, not in front of the other pupils, other students. Just, yes, personal talk, individual talk, meeting. And I encourage them. I said, you have such good skills. Let's reveal them together. Let's show to other people that you have them. We value them. So we value students' questions and their input. Sometimes students come with the assignments that weren't done in a beautiful way, but not really properly. So, and then it's about you to encourage them and give feedback. I guess later when you will, or those who have done the course on how to give the feedback and other parts, like, you know how to do that, right? I'm not going to go deep here, but again, encourage your students' inquisitiveness and value their questions and the input. Yeah, maybe assignment was not done that 100% properly. Give attention to what they have done and then guide them. No criticizing, please. Criticism kills the initiatives. All right. Another thing is inappropriate class environment. So I guess that was video 3, right? You remember when a bossy teacher, I would call even aggressive teacher, just the approach of the teacher was like, don't mess up with me. Like, no, I'm the boss here in the class. So that brings great, not even the Chinese wall, great Uzbek wall, the great barrier. So they will never approach you. Passive students, they will not listen to you then even. For them, it's just to keep silent, to let till the class finished and they would go. So physio and psycho effects. Even you could see that physiologically it affects them. They even their pose, the manner of their speaking, their body language shows that they are passive. They sit individually, even somehow isolated. Even they don't want to communicate. They don't want to interact. Right. Okay. Psychological effect, as I have just mentioned, they simply want things to be over, which is which brings to passiveness and truant. Play truant, well, you know, this idiom means to skip the classes, to run away. Simply, they switch on the defensive mechanism. They want to protect themselves. They run away. Lack of rapport. So rapport means communication. In the continuation of that video, I would watch and then I can share the links to that. So when the teacher became even more aggressive, and when the students started questioning, he would send them away. When you send students out of the class, just even for minor misdeeds, first of all, just creates bad environment. Another, it's the reverse effect. You start getting reputation as a problem maker, as a teacher who is incapable to manage your own simple classroom. So what we have to do here, just to listen and build that, to listen to the students, but you should put the guidelines. We will come to that now. Inconsistency. So inconsistency means when you warn something, when you inform students that something would be realized, would not be realized, and then we don't do that, we don't follow. Regarding both sides, yeah. For example, when the students are passive, we start again, the normal students, the common one, right? They do some minor misdeeds, then you threaten them, but then you don't do anything. Neither support, no proper reaction. So that brings students to understanding that, okay, he will not do anything, or she will just say it's like that in vain, so which is useless. So yeah, it's about both sides, as I said. So the effect of teacher, if you said something, follow your guidelines and your words. But important thing, you have to involve the students so they would feel responsible. What I mean by responsibility, I mean, recently we discussed that with my students, you know, and when we came to the point of responsibility, and they said, coming in time, doing homework in time, and I said, all right, it's not about that only, but you should understand that you need that. I don't need that. I usually just discuss it with my university students. I said, dear students, you pay your university fees, right? And it's simple marketing. I said, guys, when you come to the shop, and I bring them the example, and you pay, you want to get the product, right? Now imagine you pay and you don't do anything, you play truant, like you don't care. You don't get product for your money. And you know, like this example brought a kind of insight for them to say like, oh, really? So yeah, they just realized that running away, not participating in the class, just does not benefit them at all. So, and we have always to keep that culture. So that means we have to be consistent there. We have always to remind them, well, it's a human factor. We are forgetful. So that's why it's important to remind students that you are responsible, you are a valuable participant, do it. All right. So here, the solutions. First, learner's position. mutual respect, and identification of learners' fears. Well, I always use this approach myself when I was a teenager, when I was a student, how I felt myself at the time. I mean, during the class, what were my fears about? For example, to come and make a mistake and to be laughed and criticized. Well, yeah, they were my fears. And then how should teacher feel that? What approaches we should choose? That's what should be in our mindset. Well, also in order to understand it, it's good to involve your colleagues. So analyze your lesson. You may consult with your colleagues. They would have the same situations, right? So the more cases you know, the more solutions to them you would find. All right, building rapport. So interactions with the values, priorities, and expectations. Well, let me share my experience when I was teaching abroad. So almost half of my career, maybe I spent teaching abroad. So the first 2 weeks are very important about the involvement of the students. And at the same time, you can detect and identify who of them are passive, who of them are troublemakers. And then you put common set of values. I respect you. I consider you as responsible. You reply back, you respond in the same way. So contribute to your progress. It's not just about me putting something in your head. And again, remember, example of empty bucket and gold mining. So, because they are human capitals, but you are also valuable. So it doesn't mean that you should all worship the student, of course. No, it's just about setting the guidelines. When you have the framework, how to move, how to navigate, so that would be easy and productive for both sides. All right, so when we have the no guidelines, yeah, so responsibilities, as I have just mentioned before, create the guidelines, even the regulations, coming to class, doing something, not doing something, right? It comes to such a habit that students, they would feel you by your gestures even. So it's like on the level of thoughts, you understand each other. All right. So before we come to the next part, I would like to say something more about the relationship. So, and before we continue, if you have some comments, welcome, please. I would be glad to listen to them.
Yes, there are some comments, and as usual, I would like to start with YouTube streaming, because I would like to mention that we are kind of aware of your participation. Buraima, if I'm not mistaken, mentioned that what about changing the classroom interior, that is helpful. And you also mentioned that usage of appropriate classroom arrangement is also helpful. Okay, thanks a lot. And if we move to chat box of Zoom, I would like to review the following comment. Teacher also, by Guli Parsaeva, teacher also must use a proper language according to students' language skills. So Sevara Shimkhanova mentioned that in addition, we can give them a chance to access each other, their presentations. Guli again, Parsaeva, teacher doesn't give right answer, he gives direction. Yeah. Madina Juraiva, is there a possibility? Okay, concerning to PPT, you all kind of very interested and wanted to share. I'm so sorry. Edit is privacy of this all educational. We cannot share it, but if you really want to rewatch or to revise the session, you may go to our YouTube channel and find the workshop and watch it again. So I was actually psychological effects are the essential component of building good rapport. Yes.
Right, I agree.
Mahfuza Kuyozova mentioned, yes, rapport is important, thinking teaching. Tahmina Kramova, teachers providing input, and need to see the output of the students. Guli Parsaiva, the question, when students become passive teacher is getting the same effect. Oh, it is unnecessary. And responsibility can motivate our learners study hard. I'm mentioned by Mahfouza Qiyazova. Sadat Khan Hajjava, a great interpersonal skills. Yakut Sharipova, very interesting and understandable. Mukhdinova Martuna, I'm so sorry. You are right, teacher. Should take the personality, psychology, and physiology. Shahzada Ikram, I really love this presentation. Okay, Mirsaid Kasimov, wow, I realized that what kind of teacher I should be. Thanks. Mukhdinova Martuna, teacher should be observer and should control students wisely. Kamila Abdullaeva, teacher should make. Okay, she kind of stored it out. So that is all for now. And the question is, what about changing the class interior by Buraima? What do you think, Mr.
By the way, yes, that's very interesting point here. You know, now I'm also interested in educational management. And one of the points, can you imagine that even the lighting, the lights in the class, right? The colors, the desk, the position of the desk may affect the students' activity. So if the light is too bright or is too dim, then especially, I guess you could follow that. But for example, when it's like a cloudy day, you could see that your students are yawning and they are passive, right? Well, you could simply observe it. So yes, it's about us to be in the class. So that's why when you come to the new class, check the physical environment, how the lights are working, the position of the desks. Quite frankly, I prefer, for example, to put them like in a round way, yeah, or sometimes it's good to reshuffle them, because when you put them in the school way, like benches one after another, so by already that they understand, because psychologically they come back, lecture, school, or again, their mindset automatically gets attuned that it's going to be a kind of boring thing. Okay, let's just wait. Hibernate. You know, hibernation, they are just sleeping. No. So do something, put some posts. Quite frankly, I would admit that I was watching several films on teachers, and you would see them then here now, the approaches. We're going to watch just short episodes. And those films gave me some insights how we should approach it. So your environment, your target audience, and the delivery of your materials, the way that you should do. All right. Now, for your consideration, we have another 4 short episodes, that we will watch, and then you will tell about the solutions of that. Ready? Let's do it.
Listen up. This is what I want you to do. I want each of you to step forward and take one of these Borders bags, which contain the 4 books we're going to read this semester. All right. They're very special books, and they each remind me in some way of each of you. But before you take the books, I want you to take one of these glasses of sparkling cider, and I want each of you to make a toast. We're each gonna make a toast for change. And what that means is, from this moment on, every voice that told you you can't is silenced. Every reason that tells you things will never change disappears.
Come on, Sneha Diamond. तू best है तो कर सकती है. Come on. सपना तो सपना होता है, ना कोई बड़ा ना कोई छोटा होता है. मम्मी मेरी कहती है सपने देखो खुल के देखो सपने पर तुम अपने देखो मम्मी मेरी कहती है
Mind. Because until you have the balls to look me straight in the eye and tell me this is all you deserve, I am not letting you fail. Even if that means coming to your house every night until you finish the work. I see who you are. Do you understand me? I can see you. And you are not failing. So, take a minute, pull yourself together, and come inside. I want a new evaluation. An F. You tripping?
Today, we are going to learn grammar. If you are quiet and you listen, every 15 seconds, I will drink a chocolate milk. If you can do it, you may get to see me puke. So, do we have a deal? Yeah. Okay, good. Julio.
Yes.
This is not for you to eat. I want you to watch the clock, and every 15 seconds, bang the jar with the ruler. Like that.
All right, really good episodes. Don't you think so? Well, solutions to the previous cases. You remember those cases that we watched at the beginning? Right. So here we are in the same way. So we match the types of the solutions, yeah, to the videos. Would you like me to play that again?
We have already some answers. Zebo Umarva mentioned that one is motivation, two is encourage, three is supporting, four is attracting. And let me check our YouTube. Okay, there is no answer in our YouTube streaming. So currently we have an answer by Zebo Umarva. How about other teachers? We would like to see your answers as well.
Yeah. So I guess we can
have answers. Great movie ever, very good movie. Tahmina mentioned it like every detail is really important to make students to acquire knowledge, temperature of the classroom, behavior of P students, mood, and etc. Okay. Kamila Abdullaeva, teacher should make sure that each and every student in the class is giving full participation by including some group movements. Mukhdisa mentioned, I saw my pupils. Yes, we also our pupils. Okay, we have answers by Yakut Sharipova, 1D, Shahzada Ikramova mentioned 2B, and Mukhdinova Maktuna, 1 motivation, 2 support, 3 report, 4 interaction or interactive.
All right.
Okay, Yakut Sharipova 2B. Okay.
So if we now we're going to revise each episode, yep, and then just as we did previously, so we will just gain some summary here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so here we are.
Listen up. This is what I want you to do. I want each of you to step forward and take one of these Borders bags, which contain the 4 books we're going to read this semester. All right. They're very special books, and they each remind me in some way of each of you. But before you take the books, I want you to take one of these glasses of sparkling cider, and I want each of you to make a toast. We're each gonna make a toast for change. And what that means is, from this moment on, every voice that told you you can't is silenced. Every reason that tells you things will never change disappears.
So here you can see a really great motivation, yeah, to to increase, right? So I guess even A and D would come here, like both. Yeah. So we build the rapport, we increase students' confidence. They should believe in themselves. All right. So here, motivation to overcome the fears. Okay, as for the second one.
Come on, Sneha, डर मत. तू best है, तू कर सकती है. Come on. सपना तो सपना होता है, ना कोई बड़ा ना कोई छोटा होता है. मम्मी मेरी कहती है, सपने देखो खुल के देखो, सपने पर तुम अपने देखो. मम्मी मेरी कहती है.
You see, that's what I was talking previously about. You have to cultivate this culture in your class, among your students as well. So no matter school, university, they should support each other. That helps passive ones, maybe because they have some frights, maybe they feel that they fear to make mistakes. Yeah, so this is the best solution for them. Yeah, and I like the third episode as well.
Because until you have the balls to look me straight in the eye and tell me this is all you deserve, I am not letting you fail. Even if that means coming to your house every night until you finish the work. I see who you are. Do you understand me? I can see you. And you are not failing. So, take a minute, pull yourself together, and come inside. I want a new evaluation. An F. What are you, tripping?
Okay, that's a great example how teacher, increases the student's confidence, right? So she helps him to understand that he can do more, he can do better. As I said, and A and D both, like, it's about supporting, it's about helping to overcome the fears. Here we increase them, right? Okay, great. And the fourth, I really like it. So, by the way, the film is the Ron Clark story. Nice one. So
today we are going to learn grammar. If you are quiet and you listen, every 15 seconds, I will drink a chocolate milk. If you can do it, you may get to see me puke. So, do we have a deal? Yeah. Okay, good. Julio.
Yes.
This is not for you to eat. I want you to watch the clock, and every 15 seconds, bang the jar with the ruler. Like that.
All right.
now, you may recall that when we were discussing about the involvement students in activity, it's not just about the passive learners, it's also about the troublemakers. And you could just watch here the pupils' reaction to grammar. I guess like most of the pupils and students usually reaction similar, like, oh, grammar. Okay, see how interactive it becomes. Isn't it a good example for us how to do it in a more interactive way? And he involved troublemaker student to play another role. So we stream them, we guide their strong sides into the right way. Wonderful. So we can make here a summary that 3 components for students' activeness. You activate them. So it's about building the rapport. Communication, values, guidelines. So you set the guidelines. It's about assessment, it's about the attendance, it's about asking the questions, everything, communication in the class between them. It's very important, right? And it's interconnected with other 2. So you value them as the human capital. You don't consider them as to be passive, right, unwilling. You should convey this message to them that they are valuable people and they have something inside. So let's do it together. Let's realize it. So I'm here to do it with you. Okay. So, and motivate to achieve their goals. So if we motivate them when we do that, so what are the ways? All these three components will bring to the students' activeness in class. When you are consistent, when you do it every time, you will see the results, positive results, quite soon. All right, so that was really interesting to discuss this kind of a topic with you. And again, I would like to say that personally, I gained a lot when I attended the teacher training courses and organized by TESOL Asia International. So it's not just about advertising. No, really, it's my sincere, I think I opened like several new things for myself, which I constantly implement nowadays. So I really find it beneficial. So I really recommend you, if you consider yourself professional, if you consider yourself competent, you always have to renew your skills. You always have to refresh your expertise. So just you can refer, we have the contacts, and they can like have a variety of the courses which you will find beneficial. Yeah, for example, like recently I found there's interesting thing about educational management, which I want to go just to pass it to see what is inside, because educational management, it's complex things. Yeah, it's about the, as I said, interior of the class to make your class effective. It's about the books. It's about all the managing educational process. Amazing thing. So as well as for other courses provided by TESOL Asia International. So if you have comments, feedbacks, I'm really happy to hear them, please.
Okay, mainly most of the teachers are saying thanks for a very interesting presentation for today. And let me kind of check our YouTube and see if there anything in our YouTube. Okay, sometimes to motivate students is crucial way to help them, mentioned by Nada. Rajab Varana. Episode is very useful method, is for very useful method during the lesson. Good job. To be supportive is an excellent thing, creates students confidence. Okay, Malohat Badal Baiva. Dear colleague, this is Badal Baiva Malohat. I can hardly keep my eyes open after have a working day. Can you organize webinar in the morning? Unfortunately for this time, no, but we are going to continue this tradition. And in our future kind of webinars, we try to get it into consideration. But we have chosen this time by taking into consideration the working day of teachers, and like at home, we also have our obligations. So we took it everything in consideration. But next time we will think about it as well. But mostly our teachers are saying thanks. And I think there is no question. Yeah.
All right. So
For
thank
the
you very
partial
yes.
presentation, I'm so sorry. As I have mentioned it, as it is privacy of TESOL Asia International, we cannot share it, but you may watch it, rewatch it one more time in our YouTube channel. So in this case, I think we can close today's webinar as well, and we may say goodbye to all. Thank you, dears. Thank you, dears, for your participation. We are really happy to see you again. And tomorrow you will meet one more of our trainer, Azizatul Ahmedova. And what about trainings in person? In this case, you need to address to our administration, and they are responsible for organizing different trainings for us and for you as well. And if you're interested into TESOL Asia courses, you also need to address to them. And about like all physiology courses, you may get acquainted in detail on Friday, as it is our 5th day. Mr. Umir Porsaif, it was really wonderful session. Even we all, I think, we all enjoyed. I think teachers are also agree with me. You also made us to remember our role one more time and to reflect on our classes one more time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Administration coordinators, okay, I will share administration coordinator now, like her phone number, and you may address her via Telegram as well. So let me share it with you with our participants. I have shared it on our chat box, and I have shared our Telegram contact as well. So in this case, thank you again, Mr. Munir. It was very wonderful.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. I hope we will have more seminars and more meetings of that kind. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Okay, one more question. For this webinar certification to refill form, could you please information about certificate? Okay, Shahzad Ikram, if you check our announcement in our channels and social media, you will find out that in order to get the certificate, you need to participate 5 webinars. If you miss it, like at the first webinar, because most of the teachers said that they kind of couldn't manage to participate in the first day, you need to watch it in YouTube channel and send a short report about the content of it to our administration, and then so you will have kind of opportunity to get the certification. And thank you, dears. Bye for now. If it is too late, have a good evening. See you.